The Russian invasion of Ukraine is underway. We'll focus now on what U.S. involvement might look like as this continues to unfold and the fears over potential use of nuclear weapons. Dr. Peter Lodel, is a professor of political science at Westchester University. Dr. Lodel, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on.
So President Biden announced this afternoon that additional U.S. forces will be deployed to Germany. Is it expected that the U.S. military will become more directly involved?
Well, I think we need to be really clear that the President and the Secretary General of NATO have made it very clear that the United States will not deploy U.S. forces or NATO forces in direct confrontation with Russian forces. The deployment of troops to Germany, as well as additional kind of redeployment of troops already in Europe to some of our close NATO partners, especially in Eastern Europe, Poland, and the Baltic states, does place American troops much closer to potential direct confrontation, but we wouldn't expect direct engagement at this point in time.
Now, of course, when we're talking about Russia, a huge concern is nuclear weapons, particularly today after we've learned that Chernobyl is now in Russian control. Is there an actual chance here that we could see nuclear weapons being used? You know, he was warning of consequences no other country has seen before. Do you think that's a real possibility?
Well, I can say I've never quite heard the same terminology used by a leader before, so it's worrisome and a bit troubling to hear that. But I do not think there'll be any kind of direct use of nuclear weapons. The United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War had nuclear weapons kind of pointed at each other, but there was that delicate balance of power where neither side knew that they could really pull the trigger as they settled into mutual assured deterrence. So I'm not worried directly about a nuclear strike, but I am worried potentially about some impacts or effects on Chernobyl, right? It's sowing fear and scaring the Ukrainian people, and it certainly scares those in Europe with a long memory of Chernobyl's impact on Europe.
You know, another thought or fear when Putin mentioned these consequences is the potential for cyber warfare. Is there a type of cyber attack that Russia is capable of that we have not seen before that we should really be concerned about?
That's a great question, Sheena. Certainly we know Russia's capability with cyber attacks, and they've been committing cyber attacks both on the Ukraine and on the United States, certainly over the last couple of years here in the United States. And the FBI and multiple government agencies have kind of raised the heightened risk of greater attacks and more attacks in the future. Certainly, U.S. organizations that have a connection or link to the Ukraine should be worried and should be concerned, as that might be used as kind of a portal or a way to kind of infiltrate into the United States. And we're talking about energy infrastructure, certainly government websites and infrastructure. I'm not sure about kind of new capabilities or different types of attacks, but we certainly have to expect more to come.
Absolutely. Very concerning, scary time. Dr. Lodel, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you for having me on.